The life of Tom Hanks is often seen today as the definition of a pure American success story, but that image only makes sense when you understand how uncertain and unsteady his beginnings really were. Born on July 9, 1956, in Concord, California, he didn't grow up in the comfort or stability that people usually associate with future Hollywood legends. His parents divorced when he was just a child, and that moment quietly changed the entire direction of his early life. Instead of growing up in one stable home, he moved between households, adjusting again and again to new surroundings, new routines, and the emotional distance that often comes with fractured families. For many American kids, that kind of instability can shape a sense of isolation, and for Tom Hanks, it did exactly that. He learned early how to observe people rather than fully anchor himself to them. That quiet observation years later would become one of the strongest tools in his acting career. Growing up in different places across California meant that he was constantly the new kid. He wasn't the loudest or the most dominant presence in school. He wasn't the athlete that everyone admired or the class clown everyone remembered. Instead, he was somewhere in between, present but not fully rooted. Yet even in those early years, something was forming inside him that he didn't fully understand yet, a deep sensitivity to human behavior. He noticed small emotional details in people. How they reacted when they were nervous, how they smiled when they were uncomfortable, how silence sometimes said more than words. These observations were not academic or intentional at first. They were simply how he made sense of the world around him. It wasn't until high school that something shifted in a meaningful way. Tom Hanks discovered theater, and for the first time in his life, he experienced a sense of belonging that didn't depend on constantly moving or adjusting. On stage, he wasn't the outsider. He wasn't the quiet observer. He became someone else entirely, and in doing so, he found a space where expression was not only allowed but encouraged. Acting gave him a strange but powerful sense of freedom. It allowed him to explore emotions he had never fully expressed in his personal life. It also gave him a direction, something that felt like purpose rather than just routine. After high school, he enrolled in college in California, but the traditional academic path never fully captured his attention. His mind kept returning to performance, storytelling, and character work. Eventually, he made a decision that would define his entire life. He left college to pursue acting seriously. There was no guarantee behind that decision. No safety net. No promise that it would work. But for him, it wasn't about certainty, it was about direction. He felt drawn toward storytelling in a way that he couldn't ignore. The early years of his journey into acting were not glamorous at all. Like many aspiring actors in America, he worked in small theater productions and took whatever roles he could find. There was no fame waiting for him at the beginning, no immediate recognition. He performed in local theater spaces where the audience was small, sometimes even indifferent. He also took television roles when they came, often in light sitcom-style productions that gave him experience but not prestige. One of his earliest notable roles came in the television series Bosom Buddies, where he showcased a natural comedic charm that audiences responded to. Even then, however, he was still far from being a household name. What separated him from many others trying to make it in Hollywood was not instant success, but persistence. There were moments where the path could have easily stopped. Acting careers are often fragile, and many talented people never get the opportunity to move beyond small roles. But Tom Hanks kept going. He continued learning, adapting, and refining his craft. He didn't present himself as someone trying to impress the industry. Instead, he focused on understanding characters, understanding emotions, and bringing authenticity to everything he played. The turning point came in the mid-1980s when he began transitioning into film. Movies like Splash introduced him to a wider audience, showing that he had a rare ability to balance humor with emotional sincerity. But it was Big that truly changed the trajectory of his career. In that film, he played a child trapped in an adult's body, and the performance required something unusual in Hollywood at the time: emotional innocence without exaggeration. He delivered it in a way that felt natural and deeply human, and audiences across America connected with it instantly. It was not just a funny performance, it was a relatable one. From that moment forward, his career began to rise steadily, not through sudden celebrity explosions, but through consistent trust built with audiences. People began to see him not just as an actor, but as someone who could represent everyday human emotion on screen. That trust would become the foundation of his entire career. The 1990s marked the beginning of what many consider his greatest era. In films like Philadelphia, he stepped into deeply serious roles that reflected real social issues in America. His portrayal of a man living with AIDS at a time when the topic was still heavily stigmatized showed a level of courage and emotional commitment that elevated him far beyond typical Hollywood fame. That performance earned him critical acclaim and his first Academy Award, but more importantly, it established him as an actor willing to take on meaningful, difficult stories. Shortly after, he starred in Forrest Gump, a film that became a cultural landmark in the United States. The character of Forrest, simple, sincere, and emotionally pure, became one of the most recognizable roles in American cinema history. The film itself captured decades of American history through the eyes of one individual, and Tom Hanks' performance gave it emotional weight that resonated deeply with audiences. It wasn't just a movie, it became part of American pop culture identity. As his career continued, he expanded into a wide range of roles that reflected different aspects of American storytelling. From Saving Private Ryan, where he portrayed the emotional burden of war, to Cast Away, where he carried an entire film almost alone, he consistently demonstrated an ability to embody resilience, vulnerability, and human depth. In Cast Away, his physical transformation and emotional isolation on screen became a powerful reflection of survival and loneliness, again connecting with audiences on a deeply human level. Outside of acting, Tom Hanks became known in the United States as a symbol of humility in Hollywood. Unlike many celebrities, he maintained a reputation for kindness, professionalism, and grounded behavior. He avoided unnecessary controversy and instead focused on his work and family life. Over time, he became one of the few actors in America who was widely respected across generations. Older audiences appreciated his classic films, while younger audiences discovered him through modern roles and digital media. Even as his career evolved into directing, producing, and voice acting, such as his role in Toy Story as Woody, he remained consistent in one core quality: emotional authenticity. Whether he was playing a historical figure, a fictional hero, or a simple everyday person, he always brought a sense of truth to the screen that audiences could feel without effort. Today, Tom Hanks is not just seen as a successful actor in America. He is seen as a cultural figure whose work spans decades of American film history. His journey from a disconnected childhood to one of the most trusted faces in Hollywood reflects something deeply rooted in the American narrative itself: the idea that persistence, authenticity, and quiet determination can lead to extraordinary outcomes. And even after all the awards, fame, and global recognition, what continues to define him most is not the size of his career, but the emotional honesty he brings to every role. In a world where fame often feels distant or artificial, Tom Hanks remains one of the rare figures who still feels genuinely human to the audience watching him. Tom Hanks' rise in Hollywood did not happen in isolation. It unfolded during a time when the American film industry itself was evolving rapidly. As the 1980s transitioned into the 1990s, audiences in the United States were beginning to demand more emotionally grounded storytelling. Action films and high-concept blockbusters were everywhere, but there was also a growing hunger for characters that felt real, flawed, and deeply human. This shift created the perfect environment for Tom Hanks to step into a different level of stardom. After his breakthrough with Big, he began to be recognized not just as a comedic actor, but as someone capable of emotional range that many performers struggled to match. In Hollywood, this kind of transition is often difficult. Many actors become trapped in one category: comedy, drama, action, but Hanks began breaking that pattern naturally. He wasn't forcing reinvention. He was simply choosing roles that felt meaningful and authentic. By the early 1990s, his career reached a turning point that would define his legacy in American cinema. In Philadelphia, he portrayed Andrew Beckett, a lawyer who is fired after being diagnosed with AIDS. At the time, this was a deeply sensitive and controversial subject in the United States. The AIDS crisis had created fear, misunderstanding, and stigma across the country. Many Hollywood actors avoided such roles because of the risk involved, both professionally and publicly. But Tom Hanks approached the role differently. He didn't see it as a risk, he saw it as a responsibility. He spent time understanding the emotional and physical reality of the illness and the isolation it created. His performance was not about exaggeration or dramatics, it was about dignity. When the film was released, American audiences responded with a level of emotional intensity that confirmed the power of storytelling when handled with honesty. The role earned him his first Academy Award for Best Actor, marking a major milestone in his career. Just 1 year later, he delivered a performance that would become one of the most iconic in American film history. Forrest Gump was not just a movie, it was a reflection of several decades of American life, told through the eyes of a simple, kind-hearted man who unintentionally finds himself present at major historical events. The character of Forrest Gump was written with simplicity, but Tom Hanks gave him emotional depth that transformed him into a cultural symbol. What made the performance so powerful in the United States was its emotional accessibility. Forrest Gump was not portrayed as intelligent or extraordinary in a traditional sense, but he embodied values that resonated deeply with American audiences: loyalty, kindness, perseverance, and emotional honesty. The film became a massive cultural phenomenon, winning multiple Academy Awards, including Best Picture and Best Actor for Hanks. At this point, Tom Hanks was no longer just a successful actor. He had become a part of American cultural identity. His face, his voice, and his characters were instantly recognizable across generations. As the late 1990s approached, he continued to take on roles that reflected different aspects of human struggle and resilience. In Saving Private Ryan, directed by Steven Spielberg, he played Captain John Miller, a leader during World War II tasked with finding a soldier behind enemy lines. The film's opening sequence is still considered one of the most realistic depictions of war ever filmed in Hollywood history. For American audiences, especially veterans and military families, the film carried emotional weight far beyond entertainment. Tom Hanks' performance in that film was understated but powerful. He didn't portray a stereotypical war hero. Instead, he portrayed exhaustion, responsibility, and moral burden. That subtle realism became one of his trademarks as an actor. Then came Cast Away, a film that tested his abilities in an entirely different way. In this movie, he played a FedEx employee stranded alone on a deserted island after a plane crash. For large portions of the film, he was completely alone on screen, forced to carry the emotional weight without dialogue or interaction. For American audiences, the film became a story about survival, isolation, and the human need for connection. What made it even more remarkable was the physical transformation he underwent for the role. He lost a significant amount of weight during production to realistically portray the passage of time and physical deterioration. The performance became a symbol of dedication to craft in Hollywood. Outside of his acting career, Tom Hanks' personal life remained unusually stable compared to many Hollywood figures. He married actress Rita Wilson, and their relationship became known in the United States as one of the more grounded and lasting marriages in the entertainment industry. At a time when celebrity relationships were often unstable or highly publicized for negative reasons, their marriage stood out as steady and private. He also became a father, and over time his children began building their own careers, some even entering the entertainment industry. Despite his fame, Hanks was known for maintaining a strong separation between his professional life and his family life, often emphasizing the importance of privacy and normalcy. As the 2000s and 2010s arrived, Tom Hanks continued to evolve with the industry rather than fade from it. He took on roles in films like The Terminal, Captain Phillips, Bridge of Spies, and Sully, each one reflecting different aspects of American identity: immigration, terrorism, diplomacy, aviation, and moral decision-making under pressure. In each performance, he continued to embody ordinary people placed in extraordinary circumstances. One of the key reasons American audiences continue to connect with him is because he rarely plays characters who feel distant or unreachable. Instead, his roles often reflect real human experiences. Whether he is portraying a stranded pilot, a lawyer fighting injustice, or an everyman caught in historical events, there is always a sense of emotional truth. Beyond film, Tom Hanks also became a respected figure in American public life. He is often viewed as a symbol of professionalism, humility, and integrity in Hollywood. Unlike many celebrities who frequently appear in controversy or public disputes, Hanks maintained a reputation for being calm, respectful, and focused on his work. His voice acting role as Woody in Toy Story also added another layer to his legacy. For millions of Americans who grew up with Pixar films, Woody became a childhood symbol of friendship, loyalty, and leadership. That role connected him not just with adults, but with younger generations as well, strengthening his multi-generational appeal. In recent years, Tom Hanks has also become associated with resilience and dignity in real life. During the global COVID-19 pandemic, When he and his wife contracted the virus while in Australia, the news spread quickly across the United States and around the world. His public updates were calm and reassuring, reflecting the same grounded personality that has defined his entire career. For many Americans during that uncertain time, his recovery became a moment of relief and emotional comfort. Today, Tom Hanks is widely regarded in the United States as more than just a movie star. He is seen as a cultural constant, someone whose presence in film brings a sense of trust and emotional reliability. Over decades, he has built a career not through controversy or spectacle, but through consistency, empathy, and storytelling that reflects real human experience. His legacy in American cinema is not defined by a single role, but by the emotional impact of all his roles combined. From comedy to tragedy, from war films to historical dramas, he has shaped the way audiences in the United States understand character-driven storytelling. And perhaps the most remarkable part of his journey is its simplicity at the core. A boy from California, raised in instability, found stability not through circumstance, but through storytelling. In becoming an actor, Tom Hanks did not just build a career. He built a bridge between ordinary human emotion and the vast landscape of American cinema. Even today, his work continues to influence actors, filmmakers, and audiences across the United States. And while Hollywood constantly changes, the presence of Tom Hanks remains a reminder of something rare in the entertainment world: that authenticity never goes out of style.